Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the best upcoming meta breakers for the Open Ultra League. I already made a video like this for the Great League and a lot of people liked it and want to see a part for the Ultra League. So here it is. If you want to see another one for the Master League, then feel free to leave a like on the video and also subscribe if you haven't already. Only around 42% are actually subscribed to my channel. Would appreciate it, as we are going to take a look here now at the top 10 Pokemon where all the moves and stats are already in the code that are coming eventually to Pokemon Go that are going to change the meta a little bit. For the Master League, I most likely have to put the moves in basically by myself because, yeah, for most Master League Pokemon and Legendary Pokemon, the moves are not available yet, but for all the normal Pokemon, it usually is. And here, for example, we're going to start off with Arctovish. This is one of the fossils of Generation 8, I think. And there are 4 different fossils that all have some potential. This video is based on the average rating of the Pokemon in the one-shot scenario in the Ultra League. And this Pokemon was the lowest one that got into the list here today with an average of 492, which is still very solid with 26 wins and 23 losses. But it's definitely an interesting Pokemon, as you're going to have a Powder Snow Avalanche variant here of this Pokemon. Fairly bulky, which is really cool. Has great stats for the Ultra League, has Ancient Power as a coverage move, Brine theoretically as like another water type move, but all the fossils of Generation 8 also have a signature move, which might make this Pokemon even better. I think it's like a water type move for this one, which would even be better than Ancient Power, so it even has more potential than it has right now in the code, if it ever gonna get those signature moves, which it's most likely going to get eventually. So, very interesting Pokemon, definitely something to take a look at. In general, the Generation 8 fossil is going to be way better than the other fossils we had so far. It looks a little bit funny as kind of mutation Pokemon here for whatever reason, but we can move on to the next one. Gogoat is not yet in the game, but it's going to be available in just a few weeks at those city safaris as a special spawn there. And this Pokemon, I didn't include it into the Great League, even though I maybe should have, but this is a Generation 6 Pokemon, which is still missing, which has a great moveset, both for Great League as well as for the Ultra League, but for Ultra League the stats max out a little bit better. Has a very low defense stat, but an insane stamina stat, which kind of makes up for it, giving it a very decent amount of bulk. But Vine Whip, Leaf Blade, Rock Slide is basically one of the best moves that you can wish for a pure grass type Pokemon. Allowing you to hit also Pokemon that are flying as well as fire type is really nice as a grass type Pokemon. So Rock Slide coverage plus the best charge move as a grass type, which is Leaf Blade, plus the best fast move as a grass type, which is Vine Whip, makes this Pokemon a very serious threat here, getting an average rating of 500. Looks like a really solid Pokemon to use, honestly. Kind of a little bit awkward, of course, against those Dragon-type Pokemon, but still you have a lot of potential against most Pokemon of this meta, so very cool one here. Again, the average rating is going to increase over the video, so we're gonna move on to the next one, which is a fan favorite. Sadly, most likely not going to be available this Halloween if you saw the leaks already, which I made 2 videos about actually. This Pokemon is most likely not going to be available this Halloween, maybe next one, hopefully. But Mimikyu is a very cool Pokemon, getting to 2516 rating. Here, we're going to take a look at the level 51 variant though. So it's going to have a little bit better stats here as its best buddy. I think you need a 10-15-15 variant of this Pokemon for that one. Having the fast moves of Shadow Claw, Charm, and the charge moves of Shadow Sneak, which is not really great. Play Rough, which is decent, and Shadow Ball, which is also very decent. Going to make this Pokemon even better for the Ultra League. Especially the typing is very nice for this Pokemon, as you're going to be able to completely destroy Steelix, which is really cool. As Dragon typing damage is not going to do anything for you, or like against you, as well as you're going to be able to do a super effective damage against Cresselia while only taking neutral, going to do some really decent damage against the Giratina, as Dragon Claw is going to be double resisted, and in general it seems to be a very strong Pokemon for this meta right now, and Mimikyu definitely going to be an interesting one. Here of course you need to have a fully XL variant of this Pokemon, so it's going to be difficult to get it as soon as it's going to be available, but definitely something that is worth grinding for. Next Pokemon coming up is going to be Palafin, a Pokemon that I didn't expect to see in this list here today, but just the moveset is really making up for it. You see here right now on the left side, the max CP at level 50 is 2159, 79 there, as we're going to see the level 51 CP here on the screen right now with 2205. But for the Ultra League, interestingly enough, the moveset of Icy Wind, Counter, and Acrobatics just makes this Pokemon insanely strong. 511 average rating, 26 wins to 22 losses with 1 draw, being able to beat a lot of the meta ends like Pokemon in general. But also, if you are up energy and you were able to counter something down with Counter, of course, you might even be able to beat something like a Virizion with Acrobatics, which is going to most likely needy one-shot this Pokemon. You have so much potential in the meta, while also being able to just drop the opponent's attack with Icy Wind is going to make this Pokemon a very interesting choice. Maybe Drain Punch going to get buffed eventually as well, which definitely needs a buff, which is awesome the moveset here. Aqua Jet and Water Pulse are both pretty bad water type moves. Waterfall as well as Charm is also interesting fast moves, but Counter is definitely the best one of them all, and we can now move on to the next Pokemon. Coalossal, a Pokemon that I also had already in the Great League guide, is going to be an insane Pokemon as soon as it comes in Pokemon Go. This is basically one of the worst possible typings with the Rock as well as Fire typing here. Going to have a double weakness against both Water as well as Ground, plus a ton of single type weaknesses like Fighting, like also Rock against itself, which is kind of funny. But the moveset is basically perfect for this type of Pokemon. Having Flame Charge plus Incinerate is something that you know already from something like a Talonflame. But Rock Slide as a coverage move is really, really cool as well. Very strong Pokemon. Definitely going to be an upgrade over something like a Magcargo in the Great League. But definitely going to be unique for the Ultra League, as we only have the Hisuian Arcanine with the same typing, which is pretty bad, but this one going to be actually really cool here. As you see, an average rating of 512, getting 26 wins and 23 losses, being able to beat Cresselia pretty easily. Same goes for Registeel, Virizion, even though Virizion also does super effective damage against you. Greedent going to be nice. I would most likely rank this Pokemon a little bit lower than the others that we had before, but the average rating says 512, so it's here on the list right now. Next Pokemon coming up is going to be Dachsbun, also a Pokemon that I didn't really expect to see in this list. You see, the maximum level there is like, CP there is 2370, which is still okay for the Ultra League. We see like some Pokemon like Galarian Stunfisk or Mandibuzz, which also don't really get the 2500 CP down there. Same with like Umbreon, and they're still very viable. But this Pokemon is a Charm user, but it gets crazy decent charge moves here. Psychic Fangs plus Body Slam is going to be basically the best coverage that you can wish for this Pokemon. Psychic Fangs being a move that's going to debuff the opponent's defense, plus Charm, which is going to impact this one really, really well. It's going to be so nice, and Body Slam just for general damage output is going to be amazing. Yes, you're gonna get completely hardwalled by any Steel type, so like you don't really have to run against those most likely, but it's still going to be an insanely strong Pokemon. We see here the level 51 stats again on the screen, and this is going to look very decent for this Pokemon, getting 25 wins and 24 losses. But you see already there are a lot of wins that are really crazy decent, and there are only a few losses that are like really bad, which are most likely those Steel-type Pokemon. But you're going to be able to beat a ton of Pokemon in the current meta, especially just Psychic Fangs plus Charm is going to be an insane combination of moves, plus a very decent bulk on this Pokemon with a 212 defense stat here is going to be amazing. So very strong Pokemon, has a lot of potential, but you need, again, fully XL variant of it. Could also be decent in Great League, but I feel like in Great League, they are like Shadow Charmers are a little bit better because of the lower defense stat. Here, you want to go more for the bulk plus the debuff of the opponent, which is definitely something that you can go for. Next Pokemon, going to be one that really surprised me to be in this list here. It's going to be the Bellibolt, getting access to Discharge as well as Parabolic Charge, which is really bad, sadly, Parabolic Charge. Hopefully they're going to buff it eventually. Plus Zap Cannon. Going to be decent with Thundershock in general, has a great stamina stat of 240, plus an okay defense stat and a very decent attack stat though. Getting up to 3010 maximum level up, you don't need any XL candy for this Pokemon. Of course, it's awkward to be an electric type that has no coverage at all, only Discharge and Zap Cannon. And yes, having the moveset here of Discharge and Zap Cannon going to be a little bit more of a Pokemon that is going to look better on PvPoke, because you have a crazy nuke, you have a very decent bait move with Discharge, and you have a fast charging fast move here. So it actually got up to an average rating of 521, which I think is most likely going to be a little bit lower than what you should expect when you actually play this Pokemon. But we are ranking by the average rating here today, and this is definitely solid with 31 wins and 18 losses. Very strong Pokemon apparently, which I did not really expect, but of course any kind of ground type as well as grass type is going to be a huge issue for you, so definitely be aware of that. Next Pokemon coming up, we're going to start going into the top 3 list here right now, which is going to be the Tinkaton next. This Pokemon gets perfectly to 2544, so you kind of want to have, again, maybe a level 51 variant, but you definitely need a fully XL variant for this Pokemon. Getting access to the fast moves Fairy Rend, Rock Smash, as well as the charge moves of Brutal Swing, which is really nice. Heavy Slam, Flash Cannon, and Play Rough is going to make this Pokemon a really big threat for the Ultra League, as well as also for the Great League, by the way. But here you see the attack is lower than the defense and stamina, so it's a very balanced Pokemon, but definitely more towards geared to be decent in the Ultra League as well as in the Great League. And as we can see here right now, this Pokemon gets to a very decent amount of bulk, has the Fiery and Steel typing, which is really, really good as well. And with Heavy Slam and Brutal Swing as coverage, this Pokemon gets up to an average rating of 541, which is amazing for a Pokemon. For sure, this is top tier meta, and this Pokemon is going to be insanely strong whenever it's gonna get released, and also it's a fan favorite for a lot of people. Plus, it has the potential to get even better in the future. This Pokemon has a signature move, which is a very, very hard-hitting Steel-type charge move, most likely then whenever it comes into the game, and it's going to make this Pokemon even better, because Heavy Slam right now is the worst possible move, or like worst move that it has on this moveset. And if you're going to get like its signature move eventually, most likely doing a community day or something, this Pokemon going to be insane. I would expect that this Pokemon going to be top meta for nearly forever, most likely, whenever it's going to get released with this moveset. But it's definitely going to be a very strong Pokemon nonetheless here. Especially the typing is just amazing, especially for the Ultra League where you don't really have the Fairy and Steel typing. For Great League, at least you have the Mawile. Next one, second to last, is going to be, not really surprising, Annihilape. This is going to be the evolution of Primeape, maybe even getting another charge move. Right now it has counter and low kick as fast move, close combat, Night Slash, Ice Punch, as well as low sweep as charge moves. But it's most likely going to get, whenever it's gonna get released, the move Rage Fist, which we don't know what it's going to be, most likely some charge move that is Ghost type, and which is going to make this Pokemon most likely even better. But in general, already with this kind of moveset and the typing especially, it's going to be amazing. Fighting plus Ghost is really, really good. Like, this is going to be one of the best typings in the meta in general as an offensive type. And there's another Pokemon that has the same typing, which is Marshadow, which is a mythical Pokemon from Generation 8, I think. Actually it's Generation 7, I think already, yeah, Generation 7, which is also going to be interesting, especially also for the Master League whenever this is going to be released. But Annihilape already, whenever we're gonna get this one, definitely save your Primeape already for that one, so definitely be prepared for this. It's going to be insane, like average rating of 549. Having counter, having close combat, having Night Slash is crazy with the typing itself. 31 wins, 18 losses, winning against Registeel, Cobalion, Steelix, Virizion, Greedent, Aurora, Starbull. Like, this is going to be an insane meta pick and going to be so worth getting. So whenever this Pokemon gonna get released, be sure to take one of them because they are insane for all 3 leagues. For both the Great League, the Ultra League, but also still the Master League, which is also going to be decent, as you see the max CP of 3,695. So that thing is going to be insane. Coming to our best Pokemon for the Ultra League, where the stats are already revealed, as well as the moves are already in the game code, is going to be Corviknigh. Typing that is very familiar from Skarmory, but Skarmory recently got really nerfed by having the Sky Attack. This Pokemon doesn't rely on Sky Attack, as you have access to Drill Peck, as well as Brave Bird, as well as Iron Head. Iron Head can come in clutch in the Great League as well, if you're going to encounter something like Carbink more often, but Brave Bird plus Drill Peck is going to be already a very solid moveset again here, having basically a similar moveset than what you would run on the Skarmory, but the stats itself are very, very bulky. You only have 2 weaknesses in Fire as well as Electric, which are both fairly rare to be seen, to be fair. So you're going to have a great defensive typing here as well. Plus, you're going to have just so many wins that you're going to get here. Cobalion, Cresselia cannot do anything against you. Giratina is kind of locked into you. Virizion gets double super effective damage against you. This Pokemon is going to be single-handedly the most insane Pokemon that you're going to get, unless Niantic, of course, gonna screw around with the moveset again. But Corviknigh, a very easy obtainable Pokemon as well, is going to be one of the best ones there. It's a Route 1 Pokemon from the Galar region, so like definitely something that is worth getting as soon as it's coming into the game, which is most likely fairly soon. But yeah, this Pokemon is going to be super insane. So let me know in the comment section, do you enjoy this video? What is the most exciting Pokemon for you? Would you hope that comes into the game? And also, do you want to see this kind of format for the Master League? Let me know down below, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.